Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I want to talk about how to not get discouraged along your healing journey. So, I know that many of you out there are on some sort of healing path, healing journey, and this can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of these things. And I know from firsthand experience that it can feel sometimes like you're healing forever and like your journey is taking forever, and like it can feel like you thought you started out with this kind of like one thing, and then it turned into something else, it turned into something else, it turned into something else, and it just feels like it can leave you feeling like you're wondering if you're healing, if you're actually even healing, if like healing is actually even taking place, or if you're just spinning your wheels doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It can feel like you get to a place where you think, are there just always going to be new things for me to heal? Like, am I ever going to actually get healed? Is there ever going to be an end to this? Or is there just like something always under the surface that's going to come up? It can leave you feeling just like really discouraged and really disheartened and confused and doubting yourself and doubting your path. And that's why I wanted to make this video today. Okay, so I have a couple of analogies that I want to give you to help you through whatever kind of healing you're going through. So the first thing is to understand that there's no such thing as one part of your being going out of balance with the rest of your being staying in balance. Okay, so like if you're on a physical healing journey, your physical healing journey is going to be mental, it's going to be emotional, it's going to be spiritual, as well as physical, right? If you're on an emotional healing journey, it's going to affect you physically, it's going to affect you mentally, it's going to affect you spiritually. If you're on a spiritual healing journey, it's going to affect you in all other areas. And this is not to say, I know that when we hear that, it can kind of sound like we're blaming ourselves, right? Or like I've gone out of balance and now everything in my whole system is out of balance. Or like, you're telling me that my physical disease that I have is because of an emotional thing and a mental thing and a spiritual thing, and that can feel insulting, or it can feel overwhelming, or it can feel like, what are you talking about? This is just a physical thing, and I kind of like resent the fact that you would say that there are other layers to this. But I just want to say that like along the path, you're going to discover that every part of you is connected, and there is no division between the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And that what is happening for you on one level is happening for you on all levels. And that is the first reason why the healing journey can sometimes feel like it takes so much longer than you thought that it was going to take, or become so much more complicated than you thought that it was going to be, because it's not just ever one thing, right? It is always a web of your entire being affected by whatever you're going through. And so to give yourself that kind of understanding and to give yourself that kind of patience, that it's like, okay, this isn't just a physical thing that I'm dealing with. This physical thing is a part of a manifestation of a mental, emotional, spiritual thing that's all encompassing, that is a part of my being right now that I'm working through. So it's not going to be as simple as you thought it's going to be, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, and that doesn't mean that you're doing your healing journey wrong, and it doesn't mean that you did something wrong to get sick. Not at all. It just means that you're learning, okay? Second thing, everything that you have gone through up to this point has prepared you to do the next step on your journey, okay? So something my mom used to always say is that she kind of never really had like a clear vision for where she wanted to go with her career or where she wanted to go with her work, okay? So she wasn't one of those people that was like, I'm 12 years old and I'm going to be a doctor and I'm going to do my path till I'm a doctor. She kind of just was more or less doing the next step, doing the next step, doing the next step, not necessarily knowing where that was going. And so by the time she was in her late 40s, early 50s, and was kind of like counseling me about my entering the workforce and my doing my stuff, she always said to me, you know what, like every job that I ever had gave me skills that prepared me for the next job, that prepared me for the next job, that prepared me for the next job, and now I'm kind of in this more well-rounded career that I am knowing more what I'm wanting to do. She's also kind of working as a life coach, and she told me that, you know, like everything that I've done up until this point, even though it didn't necessarily look like it applied to life coaching. She was a secretary, she worked at a chiropractic office, she's worked at a library, she's had all these other jobs. She says that, like, she knows that every skill that she learned, every kind of like important thing that each one of those jobs imparted to her, have given her skills that make her better at what she does now. And it is the exact same way with your healing journey. Every step you take on your healing journey is giving you something that you need for the next phase of your journey, okay? And most of us are like my mom with our healing journey, in that we don't necessarily know where we're going. We don't necessarily have the vision of the whole, healthy, healed, vibrant self that we're headed towards. Some of us have that vision, some of us don't. Some of us are really just kind of one foot in front of the other, just trying to deal with what's coming up. And either way, it doesn't really matter. Just knowing that each step on your healing path is giving you something you need for the next step, that gives you something you need for the next step, that gives you something you need for a next step. And that this learning happens in like a spiral staircase. So like for me, just to give an example, I had a lot of physical things wrong with me all throughout my childhood and my growing up. I had stomach aches, chronic stomach aches like IBS, asthma, hormonal imbalances, all this stuff going on, like from the time I was born to the time I was like 25, and I figured some stuff out. So like going through all of that and like going to naturopaths and changing my diet and doing this and doing this and doing this gave me some skills and gave me some awareness of my body. And then when I kind of went into anorexia and that whole thing, when I was healing from anorexia, okay, the connection with my body that I had developed over the years of having stomach aches and having actually served me in healing from my eating disorder. And then I spent like 3 years after gaining all the weight and like regaining all the weight and healing myself on that kind of like physical level, where again I kind of had a very long relapse where I was kind of, you know, waffling back in my disease and kind of dealing with a lot of physical things that were coming up. And it is through that journey of learning how to, like really what I learned through that journey was that nothing physical is ever just physical. That it's always something emotional, it's always something mental, it's always something spiritual. And that when I would address myself on these kind of higher levels, the physical stuff would start to sort itself out. And it taught me that the more I focused on the physical, the more I tried to fix the physical, the more I tried to heal my body, that actually did have things going weird with it, right? Like I was hypersensitive, my body, I was dealing with like, you know, chronic stomach ache, stuff like that was happening. I really did have physical things going on, but I learned that when I detached myself from trying to fix my body, and I learned to address myself on these more spiritual, emotional, mental levels, and the amount of kind of strength that took to allow myself to focus somewhere other than the physical when the physical seemed so loud and seemed so all-encompassing, right? It taught me some skills, some really awesome tuning into myself skills. It also helped me to put my body in its rightful place, where it could be a messenger for me, where it could still deliver its messages that it needed to deliver to me. And then I, over time, right, got so good at reading my body and got so good at listening to my body and got so good at addressing myself on these higher levels that all of a sudden my body didn't need to exert such strong and loud physical symptoms to get my attention, okay? So, but it's because of that journey, because of the whole anorexia thing and the healing from anorexia and going through that I have these skills now, right? Which then served me for a whole other healing journey that I've been going on. And so this is what I'm saying, is that each step on your healing journey is giving you the skills and the tools and the needed equipment that you need to fully blossom into a whole vibrant being. Not just someone who's asymptomatic, not just someone who's not anxious, not just someone who's not depressed, not just someone who's not dealing with a physical thing, but someone who's like vibrant and healthy and vital and living your purpose, right? Like, because this is where we want to go, right? You don't want to just come out of your disease or your sickness or your healing journey or whatever that is and just be on the other side and be like, oh, blah, right? Like, it's greater than that, right? And everything that you're gonna learn through your healing journey at the same time as being new tools that you need for the next steps on your healing journey are also going to be the skills that you need for your vibrant life. Okay? So that's the other thing that I want you to understand, is that the skills and the tools and the healing modalities and all the things that you're going through and the person you're becoming through your healing journey is the person that can sustain and maintain and live the dream life that you have for yourself. And you're going to look back on your healing journey and you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, that's the reason why I can be the person that I am. That's the reason why I can live the life that I always dreamed that I can live. If I hadn't gone through that journey, if I hadn't gone through that healing thing, if I hadn't gone through the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual dis-ease, I would not be the person that I am. I would not have the skills that I have. I would not, right, it would not be possible to be who I am. And so, like, this is what I look at through my healing journey. I would never go back and undo anorexia. For as hard as it was to recover and as painful as it was, and as much as I wanted to give up a lot, and as much as it felt like it was lasting forever and I was never going to be better and I was always going to feel crazy and I was always going to feel insane inside my body and blah, 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 I would never go back and undo that, because I wouldn't be the person that I am now had I not gone through that, right? And so this is the other thing that I want you to understand, and to just give yourself permission to feel that everything that you're going through along your healing journey is giving you the tools and the skills and the mindsets and the perception of yourself and the world that you need to be the dream person that you want to be. And without this healing journey, you might not become that person. So this healing journey is not an impediment to you becoming the person that you're wanting to become, or even an impediment to you even knowing who you want to be or any of that. This healing journey is that. It's giving you that, okay? And then the last thing to think of is that oftentimes when we're on our healing journeys, we start at the most superficial layer and we work our way down, right? So, like, you can almost think of it like someone who's got like eczema or like skin rashes, right? They might start with like, okay, I'm gonna start to treat this topically. I'm gonna look for lotions, I'm gonna look for creams, I'm gonna look for potions, I'm gonna look for things that try to help get rid of this like eczema that I have, right? And then, so they start kind of there. And they're doing that, and maybe some of the creams are working, but it's not really working that well, and they're having flare-ups and da-da-da-da. And so they all of a sudden get into this like, well, maybe it's like I should just like change my diet a little. And so they start to work a little bit deeper. They start to change their diet, they change their eating, they change the water that they're drinking, and that also starts to help, and that's like makes a little bit of a difference and things happen, but it's not total, right? And then they start to say, okay, well, maybe there's some like emotional component to this. And, you know, like my flare-ups seem to get worse when I'm stressed. And my flare-ups seem to get worse when I'm around these types of people and this type of thing. And maybe this is my body telling me it doesn't really want me to be doing these things. Maybe this is my internal guidance system saying like, this just isn't the path for you. And yes, I can eat healthily and I can do these things, but even with that, the stress gets me. So then they start to deal with their stress and they start to deal with their emotions. And then they start to realize like, whoa, okay, like my stress is actually coming from like a perception. And I've got like this way of viewing the world that's really making me stressed out, and that's really hurting me, and that's really harming me, and it's like hindering my ability even to eat healthfully. It's hindering my ability to moderate the emotional situations that I get myself in. Da, 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 da. You see how I'm saying? And so it's like we layer upon layer upon layer, we get closer to the core of what's really going on. And this is the last thing that I want you to understand about your healing journey, is that it's gonna come in layers. And that every single layer, so like the fact that you dealt with it on the physical layer, like on the, like I'm gonna put creams on it, gave you something, right? That enabled you to then tackle the diet thing. And doing that, develop discipline, develop focus, develop connection. That enabled you to make the emotional connection, right? And then dealing with that on that level helps you to start to deal with it on the more perceptual level. And all of these layers take you deeper and take you stronger and take you better on your healing journey. And so none of it is ever a waste. Everything that you focus on, every layer you go through, never believe that you've wasted time. Never believe that you've done anything wrong. Never believe that you've fucked it up or anything like that. Because every step on your journey has given you something that you needed. You weren't making a mistake when you were dealing with the lotions, right? It's not that you had it wrong. You were dealing where you needed to deal at the time, okay? And it gave you what you needed for the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step, right? So this is how not to get discouraged on your healing journey. Everything is for something. Everything is leading you where you want to go. And this healing journey is turning you into the person that you want to be for your vibrant life, for your full life. So stick with it. Stick with yourself. Look at each step of the journey as an integral step on the journey. No time has ever been wasted, okay? And it takes as long as it takes, and this is your life now. So part of the healing journey is to understand that you're not waiting for your life to start. This is your life, okay? This is just how your life is right now. It's not how it's always going to be. But don't wait to be completely healed before you let yourself have joy. Don't wait to be completely healed before you let yourself start to pursue some of the things that you want to pursue. Don't let your physical things or your mental things or your emotional things or your spiritual things be the reason you don't live the life that you want to live starting now. Start taking steps over there, because you will discover that those are probably steps you need to take in order to heal. Okay? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I love hearing from you. Like, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. Find me on Facebook, Perception Trainers. Find me on Instagram, Ali_Perception Trainers. Join the Patreon community. We have meetings 3 times a month. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video.